Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer,
And I'm Thomas Doty.
and we are the FITT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow. Welcome people around the country and to our viewers around the world. Welcome to a show that we try to provide as much information to help you understand getting into the financial mainstream, from budgeting to investing to mindset, to decision making, to sound financial decision, to learning about insurance, health insurance, life insurance, disability. We talk about it all, and we're open to talk about any financial topic that you would like to discuss. So please, use the uh, the comment space if you have any comments or you have any questions or you have any topics you want us to cover. So please, that's where you can actually uh, tune in and ask us a question. And that's our way of interacting with you, the public, since you're not here in the studio like me and Dope. But that's how we can reach out to you. So we encourage you to put comments in there. And we also want you to use those banners so that you can click on the heart button and the like button, because that gives us more tractions and it allows us to be distributed to more people. That's how it works with Facebook. We appreciate that. So make sure you share on Facebook Live. And if you do, to make sure you subscribe and have other people to subscribe to our area also. We just want to let you know, give you full disclosure. We are not fiduciaries. We are not financial advisors. We're not licensed. We are financial educators. So we're just trying to give you a macro understanding of personal money management. Now, for specific to your individual plan, you need to actually seek advice from a financial advisor and hopefully a certified financial advisor so that you make sure that they are on the hook for what they tell you and they're not just churning and making profits on commissions. So with that, just so glad, Dote, how are you doing today?
And I am happy to be alive.
Man, you know what? It used to be, that was like, man, why would somebody say that? But it seems like the older I get, the more that becomes so valuable.
And I'm older than
I
you.
mean, exactly. So I'm telling you, my aunt Mamie used to always say, I said, "How you doing?" She said, "I'm in the land of the living." I'm like, why would she say something so negative? But I now know what you mean. She said, "How you doing?" I said, "How you doing?" "Oh, we're good. Well, if the God is willing and the creek don't rise." I never understood what that meant. But
I
anyway,
say that too, but I never figured out what that meant.
I
My
know, but we
dad,
said a lot of it.
but my
We
dad used
said,
to always say, "Live a long life, but don't get old." And that never made no sense to me until I got
say,
old.
wait a minute, don't say that one again.
He used to say, "Live a long life, but don't get old." And I know exactly what he means now.
Yeah, I didn't know what that meant earlier, but now I
Yeah,
do know what
I
that means.
feel
But you remember but back in the day, old guys used to say stuff I didn't even know what that meant. We had this guy named Mr. Leroy in the neighborhood. And I said, "Hey, Mr. Leroy, how you doing?" He said, "Man, ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Give me some grease, and I give you a piece." I'm like, what the hell is what this boy talking about? But anyway, let's get into our show today, you all. Now, Dope, you have been on a roll for 3 consecutive weeks. We've been having
hey,
the most absolute information highs. We had us pumped up about the stock market. Let's get into the top of the show where we always start off with you all is the stock market.
well, it has been volatile. It seems like I say that every week, but until we get some clear direction, there was some negative news regarding interest rates and the some financial data came out. I don't see it, Bob. I don't see the market update.
Yeah, yes, I'm having technical difficulties.
Okay, well,
Keep
I'll
talking.
keep
Just
talking. But
get ready to come up.
yeah, it was some more economic data that came out that was fairly negative. Again, when I say negative, it means that the economy is growing a little faster than we think. So it's pretty much eliminated any chance that the Fed will lower interest rates next week. I think that's like a 99% likelihood that they will not lower interest rates, but everybody's still hoping down the road that interest rates will get lowered, which is going to spur some economic activity. Dow was pretty much flat. Nasdaq's down slightly. Anytime you hear interest rate fears, it's going to hit the Nasdaq, the technical stocks. Microsoft is up 16 points, almost 4%. Tesla's down 16 points. But we talked about the issues Tesla's having with the oversupply of electric vehicles and the big competitive forces they're meeting in China. So they're going to keep cutting prices, which is going to reduce their margins. Apple's hanging in. They're taking a little fall. People are wondering, is it finally the end of the road for them being one of the dominant companies in the country? But I'm still pretty confident in Apple. I won't sell that one for a while. Pfizer actually went up $1, which is pretty good. Nvidia took a big drop. It actually took a big drop.
That's a big hit.
Well, it took a big drop, then it had a big increase, and it took another big drop. But you got to remember, it's up 400 points just this year. We're not even through 3 months yet. So there's going to be some profit taking. There's going to be some people jumping out. But from everything I've read, the analysts are still raising the targets, the price targets. I've seen a couple that are over 1,000. So one that was 1,050 actually today. So I'm still pretty bullish on Nvidia. And Google, that's the one I told you I picked up last week. I think a few days ago. Well, I'm sorry, a few weeks ago. And I got back into Google at 132, and it's up already to 144. So I'm pretty happy with that one. And that's kind of what I do is look for when the market has a big drop and there's no reason for a particular stock to drop. That's the time to get in. That's kind of when I jumped into Nvidia, and same thing with Google. Now, Microsoft, Apple, and Tesla, I've held for a long time, and those. Pfizer is the only loser I have. I think I got into Pfizer around 45, so I'm down a nice little amount on that. I got about 500 shares of Pfizer, but again, it pays almost a 7% dividend, so at least I'm not totally losing it. I still kind of feel good about that company. I know once they got out of the COVID business of all their vaccines and their COVID medicine, that their sales were going to fall off, but I'm still pretty bullish. I haven't decided to sell, but we'll see how the year's going to play out. But Dow, the three big indexes, the Dow, NASDAQ, and the S&P, as long as tomorrow isn't a disaster, they'll have another positive week, which is all we want. We look for the long term. And so we're going to keep having this volatility, but things are going pretty good.
Yeah, and the commodities still like gold. Remember I was talking about getting to 2,000 an ounce. Now it's up to over 2,100 ounce, and silver is up. Silver is up from $16 up to $25 an ounce. So all of a sudden, those commodities starting to move. It's pretty interesting with it. And let's get to one of the other favorite topics that the young people like to hear from us about is cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency market, though, is up 181 billion, up 7%. It's now up to 2,847 billion dollars. Remember, it got all the way down to like about a trillion, excuse me. And now Bitcoin, like last week, Bitcoin was up approximately $5,000. Bitcoin compared to last week to this week. Now, this week, today, is down about $600. But compared to last week to this week, it's up another almost $5,000, up 7%. 71,673 for a Bitcoin. So, like we always say, it's all about the long play. and so far it's paying off. And all the other ones are kind of pretty steady. But Solana is one of those cryptocurrencies that just keeps going up like 20%, 50%. It's so interesting. And then look at the Dogecoin. The Dogecoin was all the way down to 7 cents uh, a coin. Now it's up to 18 cents a Dogecoin. So the cryptocurrency market. And remember, we used to track Shiba Inu, which went down considerably. Shiba Inu went down as far as probably like number 18 in cryptocurrencies. It's all the way back up to number 12. So, and we usually state here, we normally just deal with top 10 cryptocurrencies because it's over 10,000 active cryptocurrencies, more cryptocurrencies than that, but I think it's approximately 10,000 active ones. And you can get really into some crazy, crazy speculative type of instruments. But
Bob,
yes.
Bob, let me ask you. So are you going to buy more Bitcoin or Ethereum, or since you're probably up 4 times what you put in it, are you thinking about selling? What's your thoughts on that?
Good question, Dope. Great question. My thought on that is I always decided that what I had to spend to put it in there, that was willing to lose, my strategy was that's all I was going to put in there and just let it ride. You know, I stayed with that philosophy. And so that was my philosophy, you know, to just hold. That was my thing. But, you know, now it's up to 71,000. Now, back in 2021, they were speculating and saying that the Bitcoin, and that was back in 2001, was going to go, and it was around 65,000 at the time. It was speculated to be going by the end of the year to 100,000. Now that it didn't even get close to that. It actually, in 2022, it dropped about $16,000 a Bitcoin, and it was down to less than, it was something like maybe 400 billion, 600 billion. The market cap of Bitcoin, man, the market cap now is about approximately, don't hold to this number, about $1.5 trillion. So everybody's getting back in, and like they said, though, the whales, the big money people, what they tend to do is take out their money and get back in low, and that sort of was kind of driving things for a while.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where I'm not taking our advice. I jumped in, I threw $5,000 into it between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and now it's worth about 20. And I really have no plan to sell. I don't have a reason to sell. And the only reason I'm going to remain in it is, again, I think in the long term, it's going to be the way we do business. But sometimes I ask myself, why are you investing in that? It really has no real value. But the fact that it's now traded, you can trade it in your accounts, has given it some life. You can trade it in your IRAs. Not recommending that for anybody. We don't recommend anything, but I wouldn't do it personally. And I can honestly admit, I only did it because I didn't want to be left out. And I do think it's eventually going to be the way we do business. But I need to come up with a plan for, do I buy some more? Do I sell what I have? But I really have no plan. And it's because there's no history. A lot of times we talk about investing in stocks because for the last 100 years, the stock market has continually grown and gone up. But there is no history on Bitcoin. There is no analytics to review. There's no analysis to do. So it's a tricky one. And I think I'm just going to let it sit and see what it does. Plus, I don't want to deal with paying the taxes on it either, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So just right quick, you all, as you hear me and Doe talking, there are different investment strategies that people have, and there's no one right strategy. It's just the one that fits your temperament, your goals. Because one strategy is to buy and hold. And my strategy has been, if it's been growing, the stocks, especially equities, were growing, And don't you've always said this too before. If you take it out, if you cash out, what you gonna do with it? Right? Now some people say, I'll keep it safe and put it in the savings account. Yeah, that's cool. But and that's not a bad strategy. But my strategy is like if I need it, I leave it in there. Now it has hurt me. I've lost before because of that, leaving it in too long, but I also gain. And then there's one other strategy I like people to think about is just take out what you invested. If you invested $5,000,
You always crack me up with that one. That would make no
I
sense.
know, no, but it's a psychological thing though. It's not like it's you getting a third child, but it just makes you feel better that you took your money and you paying with the house money. If you put 5,000 and grew to 10, take out 5,000 and then you got your money back. Because a lot
You
of
make
people
it sound
just
like you're gambling. You make it sound
yeah,
like
but it's all about. But no, it's called taking what you put in and you preserving what you put in. I don't, and then like I said, it's not a right or wrong, but at least, and I said though, it's really more psychological than think. Some people
it
feel
makes you
more
feel good.
comfortable. Yeah, to start tanking, it's like, hey, it ain't my money, it's the house money. Yeah, right. And but like I said, it's so many different strategies. But just want to share that with you all because there's all kinds of different ways to do it. But the bottom line though is to have a strategy. Entry strategy, entry strategy, and an exit strategy is so important. So with that, though, last week we said the title of our show was "Don't Miss the Bull," and that was talking about the bull market, right? Because a lot of times, you all, when the market is high, when it's a bull market, people feel they miss the opportunity to invest because now everything is selling high. Because the old stock strategy is, sell when it's high and buy when it's low. But there's also a strategy when the market is in a bull market, how you can purchase and be consistent and make money off of a bull market while it's going up. And we had some good conversations about that last week. But this week, we got a real interesting topic because a lot of my friends don't know tonight and want to know about this particular topic because a lot of people have been thinking about it, but it's so confusing. It's called Our Annuities for You. And this is very, especially as you get older, people talk about annuities. So we're going to get into this.
Yeah, and not just as you get older, but it's something that interest rates are high right now, and so that makes annuities more appealing. And we haven't talked about it much because we really neither one of us were involved in any annuities until recently. About 3 months ago, my money that's professionally managed, they called and asked if I was interested in taking 1/3 of what I have invested and putting that into an annuity. And I thought about it, did a little research on it, and it ended up being guaranteed 5+% for 3 years. And I started thinking, I'm pretty heavily invested in the market. So what can I get into that's guaranteed other than a CD? Because we don't expect interest rates to stay too long. And the analysis that I did, and they had given me some information on this, but it's you look at what the market's going to do over the next 3 years, and obviously there's a continuum of things that could happen. It could go up, it could stay the same, or it could go down. And so I kind of want to be protected if it goes down. So that's why I made that move. And so with interest rates going so high, everybody's starting to look at interest rates. They've been selling like crazy. They're smashing records for how much have been sold. I think 2008, during the Great Recession, a lot of people were buying annuities. Again, they're looking for that stability. And they can provide retirement income. And they also can be good for young people who don't have pensions anymore. Since most companies, I think over almost 90% of companies now do not provide pensions. And so annuity is another way to get yourself a guaranteed amount of income. So total U.S. annuities have increased to like $385 billion in 2023. That's 23% higher than a record that was set in 2022. And so more people are getting into them. hopefully they're learning about it before they do, because this is a pretty complex instrument. So it's not something to jump into. You need to make sure you understand it. And so there's this newfound popularity, but it goes back years. Annuities have been around forever. So it's not something new, but it's new in the fact that a lot more people are looking at it. So it's basically you put up money and then you get X amount for the rest of your life.
Now, modern day annuities are more complicated. Even though they've kept the name annuities, they are not for everyone. Before considering an annuity, there's some basics that you should know, like, including like what annuities are, what options they provide, and how safe will your money be. Now, annuity is a great way to secure guaranteed income as part of your retirement plan. Like any other retirement savings tool, annuities come with disadvantages and advantages. Now, annuities, check this out, are the only product in the entire financial universe able to provide guaranteed income for a set period of time. Notice what I said. Let's take a closer look at the pros and cons of annuities and how it can help you in your retirement savings, to help you in your retirement savings and help them to last for a long haul. Take it away, though. You go first.
Okay, and the first question is obviously, what are annuities? Okay, and it's basically an insurance contract where you, the purchaser, pays an insurance company to invest your money. Okay, so you give them a lump sum of money, and then it grows at a rate, and that interest that it earns is tax deferred, and that you don't have to pay taxes on that. Now, if you buy it within an IRA, obviously there's no tax consequence at all. In some instances, the annuity later provides a stream of income. So it may give you money over a certain period of time, or it could pay you a certain amount of money for the rest of your life. And so they are insurance against outliving your savings, because they'll make payments for as long as the contract requires, even if the underlying principal and any earnings have been depleted. So it's basically, if you live long enough, it will continue to pay you if that's the way your annuity is written. That's called a lifetime annuity. And if you live a long time, you could get way more than you put in. But obviously, the insurance companies has all these charts that they don't expect you to keep living. They're betting on you not living. So depending on the terms of the annuity, it's possible that you might die before recouping your investment. So it all depends on your situation.
So, clarification on something you said, I want to backtrack to. You said if it's in an IRA, there are no tax implications, and actually there are tax implications. It's just deferred.
Well, yeah, you don't pay taxes until you pull it out.
Yeah,
Like
but you said there wasn't no tax implications.
Well, yeah, there's no tax implications in an IRA. There's not until you pull it out.
Until you pull it out. That you didn't add that last part. And I just want to be clear. Give clarification. Though I got to be honest, okay. I was licensed, to sell annuities, because you got to be licensed to sell annuities, even though it's an insurance product. You have to have a Series 6 license to sell annuities, and I had a Series 7. I sold stocks and I sold annuities. I wasn't a fan of annuities, right? Because they were so complicated. And we're going to talk about all the requirements, the penalties, and all of this thing. But as I started reading more and more about them, and I know it's like any other financial tool, it has its place. But I will talk about, there's a thing called a rider, right, for annuities. And one of the questions is, should you add a rider to annuity? Now, this is why I'm asking this particular question, right? It's because, annuities are classified in several different ways, including how they are purchased and how the funds grow. So they can also be customized with different contract provisions known as riders. For example, annuity could include a long-term care rider that increases your payout should you require long-term care. A rider could, provide for funds from annuity to go to a beneficiary should the annuity holder die before receiving funds. Like all annuities don't necessarily go directly to a beneficiary. Some of them end when the person died. But you can get a rider to address that issue. Now, should you keep in mind, excuse me, you should keep in mind that these riders cost money, meaning your annuity pays the income stream, the income payments will be smaller if you have these riders. In other instances, annuity may pay a lump sum at a specific date.
Okay. Annuities versus CDs. And that's the reason we talked about interest rates going up. And so people are looking, obviously, to make more money make more interest on their money. So annuity shoppers typically are looking for the security of a CD, but with a better return. And these days, that's what annuities are doing. So with the equity market taking those hits, people getting nervous about having their money in the market, and interest rates going up so much, people are thinking, hey, if I can make 5-6% guaranteed, well, I won't say guaranteed, I'll say without risk, then I'm more likely to do that than put my money in the market. And so a lot of people bought those fixed rate deferred annuities in the second quarter when interest rates were up, going up like crazy. And so fixed rate deferred annuities are on average offering interest rates that are higher than bank CDs. And so that's what people are looking for. The average person probably doesn't even think about an annuity. And to be honest with you, unless or until my my financial guy brought it to my attention, I hadn't considered it. I looked at some CDs and had done some things with some fixed interest rates like that, but I don't think I would have gone out my way to look into an annuity. And mostly because they are very complex. I didn't know a lot about them. So in June, the 3-year average interest rate for a fixed rate deferred annuity was almost 6%, which was higher than you found in the CDs. And so just like with CD rates, you can go online and see current annuity rates and find out which one's paying the best interest rates. But then you got to do the homework of finding the right insurance company, looking at their ratings, make sure they are legitimate and are solid and strong. And then you may decide to look at an annuity.
Hey, Dope, KT, that's the question, and I think that's my good friend Kevin Thomas, but if I'm wrong, please let me know. He said, this is good info. Is an annuity like a pension?
Well, kind of, because that's what a pension does. It pays a fixed rate over a certain period of time, but a pension, a lot of times, it's the company that's putting up the money and deciding how much to have. And with an annuity, this is something that you would buy from an insurance company yourself. You'd say, hey, I'm going to give you X amount of money, and you're going to give me X amount of money in a certain period of time, or if it's a lifetime, you're going to give me X amount of money for the rest of my life. And since there's a big gap between those, there's a lot of differences between those, depending on how much money, the interest rate, the insurance company, and all those different factors. So a pension is typically paid for you by a company. Annuity is something you buy from an insurance company, and it can pay you like a pension would over some specified amount of time. So hope that
would you say at the end of the day that it's like a pension? It's just the principles of it are different.
Well, yeah, and again, a pension is usually paid the money the company puts in the money, and they got stipulations that they have to make sure they meet. Like there's a certain amount of because like when I worked for PPG, they'd have money set aside for pensions, and by law, they'd have to have a certain percentage funded, which means if they have a pension liability of $1 million, which is all the people who are retired or going to retire, and they do with an actuarial table to see how long they expect to live, that determines how much money they should have today to pay all of that pension liability. And I think it's 80%. 80% sticks in my head. Don't hold me to that because I'm not a treasury expert. But they got to have so much of that money put away in order to meet their future pension liability. And so, in that sense, they're kind of two different financial instruments, whereas an annuity is something you buy with X amount of dollars, and the insurance company deals with making sure they can pay that month, that amount of money every month. And I'm pretty sure they have stipulations as to how much they can keep and where they can invest and all those sorts of things. So it's a little different, but they're similar.
Right. I mean, the mechanics are different, but the concept, the strategy, like we said, if you don't have a pension, then the next thing that could replace a pension is annuity, because it's giving you a steady income, through retirement. So yes, it's definitely different, but it serves some of the purpose of not having a pension. Um, I want to discuss a little bit about the immediate annuities versus deferred annuities, and what's the difference. Now, when it comes to how they purchase, there are two types of annuities: immediate annuities and deferred annuities. Immediate annuities begin by paying a stream of income within a year of the purchase, and they are best for retirees who want to receive payouts right away. Obviously, the term deferred annuities are better for people who will still save for retirement. The money they invest grows tax deferred until it is withdrawn later. Now, deferred annuities requires a smaller outlay of cash because it's deferred, because it's deferred. And you can also add to it before the payout. With this annuity, you get guaranteed payments or a lump sum when you reach a certain age. You might also elect to roll your deferred annuity over into another deferred annuity that pays out at a lot later time. So that's the difference between a deferred and a immediate annuity.
Okay. Next, I want to ask you, God bless you. You okay over there? And so
Yeah.
let's talk about how annuities grow. Okay, how do they grow so they can pay out their money? And so Bob talked about immediate or deferred. They also offer a range of flavors on what they pay out. So different annuities grow at different rates. You could have a fixed rate annuity, which is what I have. Mine will pay 5 point something percent for 3 years. And the funds grow at that fixed rate of interest for that specified period. And if I decide to continue, I can get another contract for another specified amount of time. Or when my term is up, I can either take my money out or I can reset and do it again. Variable annuities allow you to invest your money in mutual fund like subcontracts. So the payout will follow the performance of the portfolio. And some of them get so complicated, they might say, I guarantee you 3% and you can't go below 3%. So you're protected on the downside. And it also may say it won't pay any higher than 7%. So if the market goes up 10%, you still only get your 7%. So like I said, that is a very complicated financial instrument. And index, you can even have an indexed annuity that have their rate of return tied to a specific index, be it the S&P or the NASDAQ or some other technical segment of the market. And so these things went crazy. Sales of fixed and indexed annuities, the fourth quarter was the highest it had ever been for that financial instrument. And with the market having been so crazy, a lot of people are going to that just to put some stop loss on how much money they can lose by knowing I'm limited to how much money I can lose. And so variable annuities kind of had it rough last year when the market wasn't doing quite as well. And so fixed index annuity sales were 24.6 billion in the fourth quarter 2023. That was 10% higher than the prior year, that's a whole lot of money. And traditional variable annuities was the lowest sales ever recorded because a lot of people were spooked by some of the market declines and so they weren't buying as many variable annuities because again, the money's not guaranteed. It depends on the market. And so a lot of people shied away from that.
And I just want to give clarification because there's so many different types of annuities, but normally the basic ones are, fixed annuities, variable annuities, and they even have blended annuities. Now they have index annuities. But, the reason why the variable annuities did do well, because variable annuities, and we're not going to get all into the minutiae, into the weeds with these products, but the reason why variable annuities do too well, because normally they are not guaranteeing the principal. Now, they offer you a higher interest rate than the fixed annuities, but then the risk is higher and you can lose possibly your principal and your gain. And that's why they didn't do too well. And a lot of people jump into the fixed annuities because, you're locked in. And then, if you go into the index, we know that means you get a higher return, but you not get, it's a greater risk than if you go to fixed annuities. I want to talk for a minute about annuity payouts, because the single life versus joint life, and all annuities are not treated equal. And if you buy an immediate annuity, you'll get high annual payout if you buy a single life version, one that stops payout when you die, if your house is still alive. Obviously, because you don't have a survivor on it, a beneficiary, you'll a greater payout, but you're taking the risk that, if you die before your spouse, then they will get nothing. But if your spouse is counting that income, it may be better to take a lower payout that will continue for his or her lifetime. Some of these are guaranteed to pay for a certain number of years, even if and your spouse died during that period. That's why you really got to read the fine print with annuities.
Yeah, and another issue is annuity payouts, men versus women. And so in general, if you have an annuity that pays income for life, the longer your life expectancy, the smaller your payments will be. Obviously, that's the only way the insurance companies can make money. So the older you are when your annuity starts, the higher your payments will be because your life expectancy is going to be shorter. And so for this reason, some people will ladder their annuities, investing some money early in retirement and then adding more as they get older, because again, the payout's going to be higher the older you get. In other words, the insurance company is banking on you dying. And so they obviously make money under that scenario. If you live a very long life, then you make money in the long term. Plus, laddering can allow you to take advantage of rising interest rates. Each new contract would have the latest rate if interest rates are going up. And this is why men receive higher payments from their life income annuities, because men usually have a shorter life expectancy than women, and on average will receive fewer payments.
Yeah, that's very interesting information.
That's unfortunate.
Now, yeah, really. But this next one is very key because this is one of the key features of annuity that is you'll pay fees for cashing out of your annuity early. Because remember, they want you to stay in there longer because they're going to be paying you money. And if you try to get out, then they're going to discourage you from getting out of the annuity. So all deferred annuities let you cash out at any time, but you may not get all your money back. You generally have to pay a surrender charge that starts at about 7 to 10% of the account balance in the first year. And it gradually decreases every year until it disappears, sometime maybe around 7 to 10 years. Also, if you take money out before you're 59 and a half, you generally have to pay the early withdrawal penalty of 10%. That's one of the discouraging factors of a annuity is the surrender charge, because obviously they do actuary tables and it's all about the more you stay in there, the more they can bank and use money to pay other people. So the surrender charge is trying to discourage you from getting in and then jumping out of the annuity. And that is usually, and they make it that sometimes they some very high charges to get out, and sometimes you can't get out until a certain period of time because they're liquid.
Yeah, and your annuity is protected even if the insurers go bankrupt. And it's important that you put your money, if you buy an annuity, you get it from an insurance company that's financially secure. You can look at its credit rating and uh, some other ratings you can look at to determine how financially strong that insurance company is. Now, it's not regulated or insured by the federal government, but as an insurance product, it's overseen by the states. And so if you have a fixed deferred annuity or receiving a fixed immediate annuity payouts, then your payouts are protected by your state guarantee association. This varies by state, so you'll have to find out what your state limits are. So go to the website of the National Organization of Life and Health Insurance Guarantee Association. We may have to put that up at the end. If two things, find out what your state guarantees and make sure you research to be sure that you're investing in a strong insurance company.
Right. I'm gonna make sure I pick that up. That title though. It's the National Organization of Life and Health Insurance. Okay, got it. Yeah, so next, you can buy an annuity within a 401k. Now, a growing number of companies are giving employees the option of investing in an annuity in their 401k plans that can be converted into guaranteed income after they retire. Since federal retirement law requires 401k plan providers to vet annuity providers to make sure they're in compliance with state laws, as we said, and have healthy financial reserves that could make this avenue more appealing than buying annuities on the open market. Plus, annuities bought through a retirement plan may also benefit from the institutional pricing, which means they come with lower fees. Now, annuity offers from big plan managers like TIAA, CREF, which a lot of the teachers have, and Fidelity, are generally aimed at replacing the fixed income holdings of a 401k plan's participants. But the greater complexities of annuities over a mutual fund and ETFs, they don't go away just because they're purchased in the more familiar confines of a 401k plan. For example, if you add an annuity to your mix, you will still need to decide when or whether to annuitize, that is, to convert it into a guaranteed income stream. Your decision that is usually, this is one of the other setbacks of annuity, irrevocable once you make that decision.
Okay, so what are advantages and disadvantages of annuities? Obviously, one advantage is you have a regular payment that's guaranteed, and if it's a lifelong annuity, it will last until you die. And that reduces the risk of you outliving your savings. Additionally, if you invest while you're younger, being able to defer taxes on those contributions to the annuity can delay your tax liability until a time when you're hopefully in a lower tax bracket. So annuities can also allow for additional retirement savings if other retirement accounts are maxed out, being your 401k, Roths, or whatever. On the other hand, if you die early, you'll lose the income benefit. Therefore, your heirs won't receive the money in many cases. However, you may be able to pay extra to designate a beneficiary depending on the contract. Additionally, annuities are illiquid, meaning that you might not have access to the money if you need it suddenly.
So, the bottom line, annuities are versatile retirement tools that can help you accumulate money for retirement, and it can grow your investment on a tax-free basis and give you a guarantee. Like I said, there's very few financial tools in the universe of securities, or should I say investments, that guarantee income streams for life. But it's important to understand annuities are different as people are. You have to find the one that's right for you. Now, the following are some scenarios where you may benefit from annuity. Let's take high earners, for instance. If your salary is on the high end and you're already mixing out your contributions to your other retirement savings account, an annuity provides an additional option to help you save even more for retirement. For instance, exactly what Dope did. And then for retirees, if you already retired and want a way to supplement your retirement income, annuity could be a good option. If you opt for an immediate annuity, you'll start receiving payments right away, which help you cover your regular living expenses when you're not working. And it can replace your regular paycheck, believe it or not. So, as we always talk about, potential investments, um, you need to do your homework and really understand them. Annuities have their place, and I mean, and like we always say, it's good to have a plan and see, where, because we don't believe in putting all our eggs in one basket. Like I would never tell somebody, and somebody might want to do it. Don't get me wrong, but I would never tell somebody to put all their savings into annuity. But if you already have a portfolio, if you're maxing out on your 401k, if you have, some other options there, financial tools that you invested in, if you got an IRA, something, then maybe this is something for you. But we just wanted to give you some information because a lot of people have been asking about annuities and they get so confusing. But we wanted to give you macro view and understanding because there's so much more to learn about these financial tools. But that is basically the basic. So, Dope, let's go to the summary and takeaways because as usually we dropped a lot of knowledge and we want to sum it up for you all. And if you got any questions, please put it in the comment box. Okay.
Okay. Annuities can be a viable option. It's something that the average person may not know about, but it definitely has a place in your portfolio as far as leveling out your risk, providing you some guaranteed money. It's something that you should look at. If it works for you, jump on it.
Annuities provide a constant income stream. That's the beautiful thing about annuities. They can give you, and that way you know in your mind, you're assured that you know what you're going to get every month, and you fix a budget to an amount of money that you might want to get every month. So it provides a constant income, which as you get older, it can give you that security that you need in supplementing your retirement plans.
And it's good for retirement plans or for people who don't have pensions. It can function as a pension in providing you a monthly income. So whether you're older and retired or about to retire, or you're younger and thinking about retirement, an annuity can work in either of those situations.
And the last takeaway is, will it work for you? Only you can answer that question. It's so many word variables to annuities that you really need to assess your personal situation. What is your personal goal? And then apply it accordingly because like any other financial tool, it's a viable option. It's a viable option if it is going to fulfill a particular need or particular goal that you have. So will it work for you? It really depends on you and what you're going to do. Like me and Dodo always say, but remember this, it is so important that you do research and you understand whatever product that you're getting into, that you do some research on it and at least know what you get into. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Hope that provide information that you need. No one put any comments in the comment box, Joe, so that must mean we were so thorough that we answered all their questions.
I think it means it's so complicated. People are saying, what the heck are they talking about?
Exactly, right?
It is a complicated subject. And it's, talk about investing in stock. You have to learn about the company. But in the case of an annuity, you have to learn about the product and you have to make sure you know enough about the company that you're going to invest, the insurance company that you're going to invest in. So you got a little more work to do, but it definitely has a place in a portfolio, and people who have money are definitely taking advantage of it.
Yes, yes. And I was shocked though that you jumped into the game, It makes
Yeah, well,
sense.
again, that was recommended by my financial advisors, and it made sense to me with the craziness when you get to the point where you don't want to keep taking risk, and you want to have at least a part of it guaranteed. Okay, and that's the reason I did it, because you get to the point where you just don't want to be you don't want to have everything at risk.
Right, right, right. And you don't want to put everything in annuity and have it at risk either,
That's for sure.
right? But you have it seems a very balanced approach to what you go, and you had, the wherewithal to do that. So thank everybody. And as we always close out, last week we didn't get to do it, had to get out of there, but just want to thank everybody on roll call. Garnett, what's up, girl? And Modestine down there in South Kakalaki. Modestine, I hope everything is well down there for you with those South Kakalakans with the MAGA hats. I want to thank my sister Nolia and my sister Linda for being on. I don't know what happened to Gloria. She probably fell asleep again. But Carl, what's up, chap? Thank you for tuning in. Now, though, as always, thank you for your comments, for supporting us and being on. Thank you so much. Tracy Denise Jackson, what's up, Tracy? And Joe and Son, Rodney L. Madison Sr., TheNoteExperience.com. Go out there if y'all want to learn about alternative investments or how to hold mortgages. And the wonderful and illustrious singer herself, the golden voice, Miss Sheila King. Thank you, Sheila. Kevin Thomas, I think that's you, KT. And if it's not, if it's another KT, let me know. But Kevin, I'm almost sure it's you. Hey, Kevin. And by the way, Kevin, Kevin is my guy. That's been for when it started at the African American Museum. He's been a big part of that. Thank you for that, Kevin, being there for us. And we just like to thank and see you all next week for our 142nd show. And that next week will be the 21st of March. Okay, be square or be there or be both. I don't care. All right, have a good day, y'all. And look forward to seeing you next week with another interesting subject, the FITT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow.